For many years, many people say Igbo language is dying. A language does not die because people complain. A language dies when its owners stop speaking, stop writing, stop teaching, stop building, and stop creating with it. So today, we answer the question, is Igbo language dying? We present the evidence and not repeat the fear.
Things are happening in Igbo studies, but the thing is that many of us don't know. And then people believe that Igbo is dying, Igbo is doing that. But the ethno-linguistic vitality of the language is just super.
Wow, as you're talking there, you don't know what you did to me. The key word is don't panic.
Yes.
The Igbo language is alive.
Yes, alive and thriving.
The Igbo language is alive and thriving. Well, let me first apologize to our audience. We have to do this in English because it is the language of the channel. Today, I am confident that very soon we can deliver absolutely in Igbo and you will hear us absolutely in English. And if we deliver in English, you will absolutely hear us in Igbo. The man who will do it is with me in this studio. Professor B.M. Onyemechi. No.
No.
You're welcome, Professor Mba.
Thank you very much.
You came with a couple of books,
yes,
which I want to share with our people. The first one, this one. See this thing? Igbo dictionary. Can you imagine that? Complete Igbo dictionary. Written in Igbo, everything in Igbo, no other language here. Tell us about this.
Thank you, Nze, for having me. I'm happy to announce that a lot has been done, both technologically, in terms of literature, in terms of the other apparatus that assists and supports all other languages. And I'm also happy that our people are responding positively to the development of the language. We are trying to place Igbo on the world map of languages. And then people are working. I'm not alone. People trained me. People trained those who trained me. And the work is on. It's a fundamental project for the Igbo race. And we are on it. We are happy to announce that a lot has been done on and in the Igbo language. I can just mention a few people that our brothers should know. People like Ogbalo, Emenanjo, P.A. Umachuku, Samuzo Chuku, Ubangwemena, Iwu Kubozo, my humble self, Prof. Bedo, Emeka Nwobia, Onukawa, Onoahabonna. So many of us are working assiduously to make sure that the Igbo is on the world map. And then so many, the young ones are there, keying into the terrain. For instance, myself and Uju Mo in 2012 produced the first PhD written in Igbo. And then since then, people have been working. I established Igbo PhD program in UNIZIC, in Alex Ekweme Federal University, in Ndufa Lekiko, in Bonn State University, and so many of other places with our colleagues. You go to our banks, you see the ATM menu in Igbo. You go to Google, you see Igbo phone. All Nokia phones have Igbo menus. Also, go to SwiftKey if you want to type Igbo. SwiftKey. These are technologies that our people have developed to support the language, and I think it's just wonderful the stage where Igbo is. So nobody should panic. The language is not only being sustainable, but it is already sustained.
This is the first major shift in the conversation. We move from fear to evidence. Professor Mba is saying, do not judge the future of Igbo language only by what people are not doing at home. Judge it by looking at the books, the scholars, the technology, the students, and the systems already being built.
So this program we are doing this morning is part of the process of ensuring that the language is stabilized. No Igbo person should fathom the idea that that Igbo is dying, Igbo is endangered, Igbo is doing this, Igbo is doing that. Just about 2 days ago, some of my students defended. As at now, I have 32 masters and PhDs written in Igbo, no English, nothing. 19 PhDs and then 13 masters, all written in Igbo.
Wow. I'm
not alone, others are working. It's not that I'm the only person. I'm talking about the one I know. If you go to UNIZIC, people are working. George Onwudewe, Ogudile, Nkole, Nigide, Tekla Obioha, Demado, Ne Obioha. So people are working. I think if you go to APSU, Onokawa is there, Ndimele is there. So people are working. Go to Uyo, Ndubisi Obona is there. The interesting thing that is not just Igbo land, because we are Torin people. Almost all universities in the country, we have our brothers there who are, supporting Igbo studies, and they're just wonderful. The extent we have gone overseas. There are Igbo schools in the U.S., South Africa, and then I've been to Germany to examine one of us that studied Igbo in Big SAS, Bayreuth International Graduate School of African Studies. So Igbo is in the right path, and I think we have to thank God for it. It's not by our might. The thing is that the interest is there, human resources are there, and then people like Nze Aka is blazing the trail, and that is why we are here this morning. So I thank you for having me. As we proceed, then we talk more about the state of the language, the function, the role, the publications on Igbo and all that. We are there, and then this is just for those of us in Igbo Kwa Igbo studies. If you go to those in history, those in anthropology, psychology, and all that, the issue is that people think they are doing this, doing that, but indirectly it is Igbo studies that they are doing. If you go to Agric, it is Igbo studies. Go to botany, Igbo studies, and all these things. So people just feel that Igbo studies is just, if you don't write in Igbo, that you're not studying Igbo. But even our medicine, we're still talking about the Igbo medicine for sustainability and all that. So a lot is being done in Igbo, and we need to praise God for that.
Now, this is where the matter becomes bigger than grammar. Igbo is not only a language subject. Igbo carries history, medicine, agriculture, identity, technology, and the worldview of a people. To preserve Igbo language is to preserve a whole civilization. Now, to help our listeners, those who are panicking, those who are worried, those who are get it all together, can you put for us in a structured manner, in sequence? Okay, so this is the status of Igbo language studies. Like, for example, I can see that we have a dictionary, which you have shown us, and then we have Iwu Ideti Igbo.
Yes.
Yeah, this one is the orthography of Igbo language.
Yes.
That will deal with various issues. And also, I know that reading Igbo, what do you call that part of it? Reading it.
Yeah, that's the oracy.
The oracy of it. Yes. Because of tone marking, the tonal challenges, yes, and all that. So I would like you to, without being too technical, knowing that they are talking to a broad audience of Igbo people who are worried about the language, now give us a structured input that can help us to form an approach.
We need to appreciate the fact that every language, to be a language, has its own unique features.
Okay.
And we also need to appreciate the fact that the founding fathers of Igbo studies are not Igbo. They are missionaries, Westerners, and maybe our brothers who were enslaved and then freed and then came back to develop it, somebody like Olade Kweno. Because of that, you find out that there are certain inconsistencies in the orthography.
Okay.
Something like Enugu, we know it is Enu, Ugu, top of the hill, or hilltop.
Yeah.
You find a place like Oka, you have A-W-K-A instead of O-K-A. Because A-W in English is O, as in saw, as in claw. So that is what you used English orthography to adapt and then adopt that for Igbo. That is why we have certain inconsistencies. But Obalo, whom I have mentioned, with Spelk, they tried to do a lot of work. They did a lot of work in terms of orthography design. So in 1961, our brother from Afa, who was the Inspector of Education in the then Eastern region, had to bring all the contending parties, especially the CMS and the Catholic missions that were arguing about the orthography to use and all that, because we know that the CMS came to Nigeria first and then started evangelism, started typing, working on Igbo studies. So by the time the orthography issue came up, the Catholic also came, and then the Catholic easily accepted the new orthography. But because of the amount of work the CMS already had, they didn't welcome the orthography that much. So there was a conflict. And then that was resolved in 1961 with the help of Spelk and other Igbo enthusiasts. So that was how we developed the current orthography that it's not perfect because there are some symbols that are not included in current orthography, but we don't want to go into any further orthography controversy. So what we preach is that we use the standard form, and then if you are into technical works, you can bring in those nuances, dialectal nuances. Maybe, for instance, if you go to Abia, they have a lot of nasalization and palatalization, like Ara and Ahara. There's a clear difference, but the difference doesn't exist in Anambra, Enugu, and the other dialects. So that's why the nuances got suppressed. If you come to the northern Igbo from Oka, the Wawa Igbo, you have some people will say Eka, others will say Eka, others will say Aka. So because of these dialectal differences, there was a need to have a standard. All languages, world languages have standards. But then, when you come to works like poetry, works like dialectal studies, you need to, represent what the people actually speak. And that was the crux of Achebe's Ndigbo lecture. Okay. Achebe was insisting that we write in our dialects to, mirror what people actually speak instead of generating synthetic, standard language. But then people like Nwadike had to cross paths with him and then ask him why he was writing in standard English, whether English didn't have dialects. So if English had dialects, and he wasn't writing in the dialects, why would Igbo not have the standard language too? Yeah. So, and then everybody appreciated that argument, and everybody appears to agree that we need to, have a standard. And it is that standard we are pursuing. Okay. Like the dictionary that you have just shown, I brought the letter E in because there are certain words. E is meaning contrastive in certain contexts, where A cannot, something like Eba. If you say Aba, it doesn't have any meaning to the central, but Eba means Gari Fufu. Okay. Utara Gari, yeah. That's Eba. But if you have Aba, you get a totally different meaning. So it contrasts, and that's why we had to bring it in and then represent it in all the choruses where it will help the language to grow and then close the gaps where we have some flaws in the orthography. There's no perfect orthography in any language in the world.
Viewers, please hold firmly on this critical point in mind. The Igbo language experienced several complications, specifically with spelling, tones, dialects, and standardization. But that does not mean the language is dying. Before achieving stability, every major language in the world has undergone the very same conflict Igbo language is going through today.
So let us not feel that because certain peculiarities of dialects are not represented in the Igbo language that Igbo is not growing or that Igbo has a problem. Even in English, like the letter F, like in philosophy you have PH, in fish you have F, in something like psychology you have PS. So if you go to Yoruba, the same problem. The Yoruba Oshoba, the she, sometimes they write it as SH, at the other time as S, at the other time like S with a sub dot. So it's everywhere. If you have a papa, it's not a papa, it's a papa. Okay. They use a P for a P. It's everywhere. Go to outside, the same thing. So these are language dynamics that we need to hold constant to make sure that we don't see our language that is actually growing from a negative perspective. When it comes to literature, Ubesie, Tabonzakom, Ogbalo, and the younger ones now coming up, we have so many, J.C. Madewekwe, so many of them. So come to the phonology, people like Eziko Jako, Ikekong, Mrs. Mba, Ogwona, they are writing, or Obianika in EPSU, they are in the phonology of the language. Come to the culture. There are so many people out there on culture. You have somebody in Unizik like Anedo is in culture. If you go to morphology, Onokawa is there. Come to syntax, I'm there. Go to the social linguistics aspect, Abedo is there. So there's no aspect of linguistic study that we don't have at least people that are working assiduously to ensure that a lot is covered in the language. Go to history department, Amechi, Opata, so many. So anybody fearing that Igbo is not doing well doesn't, know what is on ground. A lot has been covered, and work continues.
Now, the discussion comes down to measurement. The question is no longer, are people afraid? The question is, what is actually happening? If scholars are writing, young people are entering the field, books are being produced, and institutions are growing, then the story of Igbo language is not finished.
What is interesting is that the younger ones are massively in Igbo studies. And then because people keep on saying Igbo is endangered, Igbo is dying, there are parameters in linguistic studies that you use to test whether Igbo is actually dying or not.
Okay.
Now, first, for you to determine, that's what we call language ethno-linguistic vitality.
Okay.
For you to determine whether a language is dying or not, you consider three things. The population. Is the population increasing or decreasing? I think Igbo is increasing. The last time I checked, Igbo was about 40 million. You can Google it online.
We're hitting 60-something, 70 now.
That wasn't there before. If you consider the 1960 census and then 1991 census, we didn't get that number. Secondly, you consider the role of the language as which establishments use it. Now, I can assure you that in the 60s, 70s, 80s, we didn't even study Igbo seriously in universities. So it just started in the 90s, early 90s and all that. But today, except for one or two universities in Southeast, there is no university in the Southeast that doesn't have Department of Igbo Studies, that doesn't have Institute of Center for Igbo Studies, that doesn't have Institute of maybe African Languages or Igbo Studies. These are areas where the language is studied. So currently I'm the director of Center for Igbo Studies in UNA. It wasn't there before. It was just created in 2014. That of UNIZIC came first. Then almost all colleges of education study Igbo. That one is legalized. All the federal colleges of education in Nigeria have Department of Igbo. So the study is, they just getting a lot of momentum.
Share this video with every Igbo family, especially the younger generation. Follow Ndi Igbo Viva for more conversations on Igbo civilization and values.